Happy new moon, everybody. And I just want to say that for me, a lot of people have different stories about the moon and whether or not it's the real moon right now. Well, I believe that the energies can still be felt, that no matter, same with the sun. So I can feel them. So if I can feel them, I'm going to stick to that. And that's my belief. So for this particular new moon, in the kind of, swinging in right with the Lionsgate portal. It's a very profound one, and the landing of it being in summer, Leo season. So it's an opportunity for you to make a list and burn that which you no longer wish to have in your life, and then go ahead and make a good list of what you do want with I am statements, what you choose. It's really important. Norma Jean, how about you?
Ugh, every day, every day. It's like the conversation we were having earlier that, it's definitely that I wake up different. I wake up knowing that there's a purpose for me to fulfill. And I wake up every morning knowing that there's something new for me to come into. And I have a bit of that excitement because I know I only have a certain period of time before I hit that, okay, I'm here. That in between state where, you're able to get that fluid clarity. I'm still in that in between, theta, beta, and alpha and all that. So every day's a new day for me, and I look forward to them, see what they present. What?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, every day is a new day. And I really felt, I don't know how many of you felt this, make a comment if you did, when the cosmic clock switched from the previous year. So that was the 26th. The 25th was the end of the year. The 26th was the new year. And if we look at the entire cosmic clock, so to speak, which is the zodiac sign, and we go through ages and stages, I think it's like 21,000 years approximately for each space, each evolution or de-evolution, depending on which one. And so we are coming out of one and switching into another. So you may be feeling a little different. I know Norma, Jean, and I were just discussing how, the clock seems off. It seems like where the sun is and how warm the sun is feels like it used to feel at noon, but it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Time is speeding up, so to speak. It's like all of a sudden it's like, where did that month go? It's just gone. So yeah, absolutely. And look at that. Has anyone experienced time changes once in a while? Absolutely. In every moment when you choose to do something, you're switching, you're switching, you're upgrading, you're up leveling, ideally, or you're downgrading. And this will affect the reality that you perceive, or that the vibration you're sending out, the frequency you're sending out will show up differently depending on where your vibration is at. And this is why it's so critical. Yeah, I know you're not nuts. Not nuts at all, love. So, yeah, really wanted to just talk about the new moon a little bit more, because it's a good time to just get a little quiet. And we're always guided, we're always connected. It's, can you receive the messaging? And for me, it's, I confess, lots of time when I'm going pee. You do it or if I'm driving, right? Those things that you do so unconsciously because it's just something you do all the time, washing dishes, where it's an opportunity for messaging to come in. I'm like, oh, that's not a thought I would have had. And you can start to discern the difference. And so you can ask a question and put it out there, especially at night. And that's what we want to get into next, at night, to ask questions. And Norma Jean, I know you're really good about asking questions. Can you add on to that?
Yeah, it's a lot of those questions turn into conversations within here. No,
Right.
it's me, how I approach things, and a lot of it is a lot of questioning. And in that questioning, it's always one of those that because I'm not so much about what's going on outside of me and
Mhm.
behind these curtains that I need to be aware of. And it's one of those that, this world that we're having this existence in, we're having these experiences, and it's going to present itself every day because there's so many of us here. And what takes place is important to the ones that are there. But for me, what's important is what's going on in here? What's going on in my world? Because I need to know these things because we're dealing with a lot of energies. And most of these energies are defined as gods, deities, daemons, sibyls, however you want to define them. But to me, it's just all energy. And so I have these conversations in my head. I ask these questions. What, am I talking to me? Am I talking to an ancestor? And yet, if I'm having these conversations and my mind wants to, or my brain may want to get involved and bring forth, like, say, an image of someone that I could relate to in that questioning, depending on what that question is, my brain wants to bring in, a visual for me. And so in that, I ask the next question. Okay, well, you're giving me this visual now. This visual of this certain or particular individual you've brought forth to me. Am I tapping into the essence of the being they are, or am I being manipulated? And there's a god or a deity or a daemon or whatever it is you want to call it. What energy may be utilizing that in a way to wiggle its way into my world to whether it be to challenge me, to manipulate me, or whatever it may be. So these are the conversations I have with myself. And as much as I know there's a lot of stuff that's going on out here that which is for me comical for the most part, I need to know what's going on within me. So I'm always sitting and I'm having these conversations with myself. And it's quite fascinating because I usually am able to decipher and differentiate, what that energy is, given how I feel.
Yeah.
How do we feel through that response that I'm having with this conversation I'm having with myself? Because it's so vitally important that I know this. It's so vitally important that I understand what the energy is by how I'm feeling while I'm having this conversation. Does it feel as though it's beneficial for me? Does it feel as though there's a little bit of nefariousness that, well, that's not me? So in all
Mhm.
this, I'm always having these conversations to know more about how much of me is a part of that conversation. How much of the fullness of the being that I am that I'm still coming into is being a part of this conversation. It doesn't matter to a degree, it doesn't matter what may be being reflected back to me in these conversations. Yet, however, the most important aspect for me is how much of me is coming through. How am I feeling about what conversation is taking place wherever it is that I've gone to? Because, people call them timelines, others call them paradigms, however it is you want to, define it. But the most important aspect is always for me, asking questions, understanding the reply or a response I may be getting in that reflective moment. Understanding, is it something that feels right, feels as though it's something that I can take in consideration? And if not, then I move on to the next question.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot of what Norma's relating to is because she travels so much. Right? And so she's out and about, which is part of the next conversation. Out and about, not necessarily here in her body, and I'll catch her sometimes. Jade can catch her. Somebody catches her as she's traveling and brings her back to the present moment. Uh, and we're so grateful you're all here. Let me just interrupt for a second and say thank you for joining us. Make sure you like the video, share it out, subscribe if you haven't. YouTube is our preferred platform. That's where we've had the most ease and use, even though a lot of people say they're not a fan of it. So we are also on Rumble for those that prefer. Good to see you, Bengal Tiger. Good to see you, Earth Biscuit. Judy, grateful you caught us too. Hello, Tango, as always. Absolutely. And Kriba, hey, Cindy. Yeah, we're super grateful you're here. and we've been away for a couple weeks. So as Norma travels, when she travels more and more away, we got to visit with Tango, which was beautiful. We got to go hang out and show him what we see when we go outside, and all the faces we see in the rocks and the beings that are there, the rock beings that are holding space. And this one river where the waterfall was, it's like portal. We just kept getting portal, 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 portal. And so it's quite profound to be able to share with another soul, family member, and hang out for the day. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good reminder too, depending on what makes up your reality, so to speak, right? Whatever you think about, speak about, and write about is drawing things into your reality. And so it would be wise to get that time out in nature, to be unplugged, to really be with self. Now, some of you may not be able to meditate, but meditate it really is huge. It's a bit of a reset point. It's a way, even if it's just for 5 minutes, or it's a guided meditation, or you're walking in nature without a phone or music or earbuds in, and you're listening to the frequency of nature. Very, very healing. You can go swimming in the ocean, you can go by the river, all these things that help to balance your body and are still very healing for the body as well. Toning has been a big one recently. I did a meditation for someone this morning after our call and was oming 21 times. I haven't done that in a long time, but when one is so I want to say in their head. So remember the body, mind, and spirit. And when we disconnect one and we're all in our head, which is how we're kind of programmed to be, that our mind is us, and that's just not true. You're not the one speaking. You're not the one thinking. You are the one observing that. And then so we remember that we are water. Our body is made of water and plasma and blood. And so this frequency that one can tone with their own voice, which sends the vibration through the body, can be very, very healing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good to hear that the grounding mat's restoring energy. It works for many people, especially in apartments. I spend too much time outside barefoot. I asked if should I get one of these? No. Plus we don't know how long we're here for, so we're holding tight at the moment, working on some building stuff. But yeah, what other things are you guys struggling with? And as we speak, I'm just going to drop in some healing energy. If you choose to take it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. My tone of my voice is a healing frequency, but I can bring in some positive energies for everyone so that you can really relax into this conversation. We don't want you to get too much in your head about the how, the why. Just hear what's being said. Don't here to listen, not to reply. Here to see if it might trigger something in you as a remembering. For that is what we're really doing. We're remembering who we truly are and how powerful we are. And so if you treat it every day like a new moon, that would be wonderful. But even just adding in the new moons, the solstices, the full moons, and starting those really important lineups going on in the sky, and also as per the astrology of tropical, because it is the calendar we are running on. I'm finding it more and more to be a bit more relevant when I'm reading it, but you take it as you will. So that's really important. So let's start this conversation around what happens with our consciousness when our avatar's resting and we sleep. Recently, I've been in and out, waking up a lot, so I know something's going on. Norma Jean, this is your special forte.
It's there are times that I know when I'm whenever my body does get to rest, just as you say, yeah, like yourself, I've been up and down. It just depends on what's going on as far as where the energy is concerned, given any moment in time, in each day. And there are days that the energy is significantly higher than other days. And the higher the energy, the less of a sound sleep I have. Yet, what time I am sleeping, I'm traveling. Yet, it's also that, the more and more I have these experiences, I call them travels, yet some of them can be where it seems as though they are dream like. But you and I was having a conversation the other day that it was significantly profound to me that I was finding myself removing certain individuals that were in my life off my Facebook, just
Yep.
because of just didn't want to see some of the stuff that they were posting and things like that. So it's like unawarely or unconsciously, I was doing things, just by a choice for whatever purpose or reason, yet coming to the awareness that there was a travel or dream, so to speak, that I was having, that it was with these people, played a significant role in my life in a period in time, actually only just a few years ago, where I was having this interaction with them. Now, whether it's a paradigm, a timeline, I don't know. I just look at it as this, that there's this possible that in that releasing, in that moving away from that past period in time in my life, maybe where it's like, okay, I'm ready to release and let go and move forward in my now present times to create more profound and beautiful connections in different ways with more meaningful content and purpose. So that's where we was talking about, I wonder if this was, for, a possible way of closing that period of my life, closing the door on that, not because of the people, so to speak. They just happen to be what was in that, within my immediate environment that I would hang out with and call friends. And so it's like, I look at that and it's profound to me how significant sometimes when we make a choice, we may not be as aware in why we're making the choice that we're making. Not because it's a good or bad or because of this, that, or the other. It's just, okay, it's just something that you just do.
So
You really don't know why sometimes.
right. And so for me, I see that as, especially when we're remembering specific people and you had something happen during the day and now it's correlated. So you're cleaning out the memories of your mind, which is being replayed like a dream or reinterpreted to clear it, right? Being erased, purged. And so you could call it, I say closing timelines because it's the most common term that people understand. But I believe it's because you're cleaning out neural pathways, memories, wiping the bank to remember. And by deleting that, you took that action, which then manifested that to happen. And because
Right.
you're highly aware and you have that gift, you're going to remember things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that even brings up that I was in before we even come in here, and I was sitting outside, preparing for this, and I was having this conversation with myself where when we even think about it, the other day when we was on the island and we were with the clients that we were with, and it seems as though, I come to that space and place, it's like, oh, I have a deja vu. And then I got
Right.
to think, and then I was having this conversation, I was like, hold up. Was it a deja vu? Or was I possibly making it a specific point in time as a stamp, so to speak, to make it a significant point in, this here now time space, where if we are time travelers, that as we're going through this time travel, is it a deja vu? Or am I consciously as a being creating a significant point in time to be able to come back in and out of? Or was I collecting myself because I've been here before? There's so many, and these are conversations I have with myself often, people. Okay. I do not lack in conversational material, let me tell you.
If it was
And these are
another time and space, Norma would be locked up. Especially she verbalized more.
so it's like, and then on our way here back from the beach, we were talking about, the sun and how he's on the beach, and it was before 2 or 3 o'clock. And I got to think, and as this conversation was going on, it started reminding me and helping me remember that. I remember when it used to be that when I was young, at 12 o'clock, it was a warm time. Then as time went on, it got later and later and later in the day, that it had to be anywhere between 2 and 3 o'clock before it got to where it seemed as though it's noon high. So as we was going, coming back here, we was having this conversation. It was like, this is where if you think about it, this is where our 3 degrees of separation comes in.
Yeah.
How much have they sped our time up? Because it seems as though either we're 3 hours ahead or 3 hours behind one, where it seems as though our sun does not sit at the highest point at the correct time.
No, it was 3 o'clock when it was peaking, as if because of I was like a sundial sitting in the chair, right? We went down to the beach and checked in on the waves, and I did some water intentions because I love to do that. But yeah, and it was like just above us as we were going, and that was 3 o'clock, which is fascinating. So look for the signs, be the observer, and write down what's happening for you at night. And so I would equate more things that are more dreamlike to me are when you take pieces from the day and it integrates, or something you recently looked at or saw and it ties in. I had one about deja blue for some reason, which was really interesting. But get this, because it gets weird. So it was like a combination. We're at some like museum place, and I'm driving a car, and I was in the car by myself. I have no idea why, but I was with other people, and I was driving over water on like this rickety little bridge, and I know my tires were outside of the actual bridge. So I was like, I don't know how I'm staying on here, but I'm staying on here. So I just keep going. No thought to stop and go back. And then I was also at this museum coming around on like, it was almost like railroad tracks because it was elevated. But again, I'm not on the tracks. The car's like way outside the tracks, but I'm still going. And I come around this corner and I can't go anymore. So I stop and I look, and there's all these fish, but they're in the air. And there's like a bit of steam around them. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I go get Blue to bring her over to show her. And of course, as I do that, I come back and there's a glass wall and there's fish and water. I'm like, well, there you go. Now I look like an idiot. So to me, that's a combination of a dream and traveling in a way and going to another realm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting, Kriba. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah. So I think it's all over the place right now. I think things are speeding up. So depending on where we're at, go ahead.
It makes me think of like, the way you express. I mean, in what was my reply to that? Welcome to the astral side of things.
Right.
There's no rules to what you're experiencing.
Right. No, not at all.
You're so unlimited as for, just like my dream that I had, 4 or 6 months ago about being in the cat kingdom and getting kicked out because I misinterpreted what was going on. I mean, we can have so much fun with this because there's been so many times that, but it also brings me back to, there's this movie I watched, and I can't remember the name of this movie to save my life. And I remember bits and pieces of it. And it's a movie that really meanders you in. It was about this girl that was upset because something that was going on with her mom, and she was drawing. And as these drawings, she went into these drawings, and it was something to do with clocks and how, time is not significant on the astral plane or beyond those veils of the next levels, so to speak. And so it was like, it just takes me back to those movies and things. And it, of course, that just brings more questioning as far as, well, how much did this movie I watched have an impression upon me as far as how I view things now? You know, how impressionable was I at that time? And
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're talking like 2006, 2000. I'm not sorry, 2008, 2009, 2010, somewhere around in there. Whenever I watched this movie, and so it's like it's not that people lack the understanding that we're here to be creative, and there are people who can hit those creative marks in areas and places to take it and express it in a way where it can be almost uh, comprehensible
Yeah.
to the human mind, yet understand that it's not for this realm as to how they're presenting, how they're just this written format of this is what the astral is about. This is what we experience when this vessel rests. So it's like it's just fascinating to me that the dreams that I do have, they're oftentimes that when we was over at the island, I was given all this information about how to do this, that, and the other, and I was awake while this was happening, but yet in that in between, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'll remember this. I'll remember this. And then of course I didn't, but it's
Yeah. You
it's
need
it's
that recall. You have to tonight when you go to sleep, you say, I recall that one, please. I want it back.
right. Well, I mean, some of them I'm already starting to implement. I mean, this coming through in some of the videos I've been creating.
Yeah.
The gradient work and stuff because that's what they were showing me.
Yeah.
So it's like, but in that, there was so much more for me to understand as far as some of the stuff that I was being given in the understanding of how things are so fluid. All of this is so fluid because we are in, the plasma, the water, how it
Mm-hmm.
is that you want to see it because there's only that thin veil. There's only that thin, like just veil
Well,
that
I'd say
really
the
separates.
veil's here. Everyone's like, the veil's thin. I'm like, depends on the person. Depends on
It
the person
does.
and how open and willing you are to receive and able to connect. And
Yeah.
can you get quiet enough to do it? Okay, awesome. All right, so there's a little tidbit on this astral travel, but let's dial it into the point where when the body rests and you are starting to leave the body, quite often, hey Sharon, quite often you'll get a foot kick or an arm movement, and that's the body going, whoa, what's going on?
The
That's
jerk.
yeah, a jerk of some sort. Yeah,
Hmm.
the jerky jerk. And then, so you have to remember that if we look at it, because when I was a kid, I can remember flying. And so I can intentionally pull my energy body out, and your brain does not know the difference between watching a movie, having your imagination running, right? No.
There you go.
I don't know if you guys can see the party balloons we just had in behind my head. Watching a movie or what you're perceiving in this reality. It doesn't know the difference between the three. And so I will work on that as part of getting my body really comfortable with that process and being able to get yourself up and out of the body, even just with your imagination, is a really good start. And then also setting those intentions. And before you go to bed, it's really important what you're going to bed with in your mind. It's going to affect what happens for you next. So it's going to influence. And so it would be really good to write out anything that's on your mind that's bothering you. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you can't, I believe we do more work in the astral than we do right here. Everyone thinks they're doing all this stuff here. No, I believe that we are doing much more in the astral. And so, as you know, now we go to sleep, leave the body, you go to different areas. And I think your body calls you back sometimes. Oh, we got to go pee. Right? Got to get up and move. And you can't operate without it. You'll be very much in a relaxed state still. Absolutely. And so then we can look at another version of Norma Jean as a super soldier in the astral, which is something that was just coming to a close as we connected. Share a little more about that?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, it was something that I became more aware of, especially once I was able to connect with you, because you allowed me just to be me, and you were the first, that never really questioned anything. You just like, okay, and you accepted everything that I said, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, So being given that chance and opportunity just to express is very powerful. It's very powerful for each individual. That's the reason why
Be
it's
heard.
yeah, to be heard, because all anyone wants to be is heard. And that's a very powerful statement when we come to really understand that. And so as time went on, and we interacted more and we had more to share with one another and stories. What were we talking about again?
Super soldier.
Thank you. That I was more aware of what I was doing in the astral. And so there was, the times, the significant times that I know that I was out and about in that super soldier part of myself, but understand that this isn't all me. This is an aspect of me, because there are multiple aspects of each of us out there. At least that's what I feel or think for myself. So as I'm going through this and becoming more and more aware of my travels, I came to the space and place that I was more aware of that, that aspect of myself was out there, not as much as like an angel or anything like that, but I did have wings. I was flying. And the last time that I actually was in that super soldier mode was during this huge transitional place and point last year, where a lot was taking place, where it's time to get out of the warring way of things and get more into the heart and connection way of doing things. So I was out and about, and I was, ambushed, and I had my ring ripped, and it was my left side. So that was one of my experiences. There was that took place, and you ended up kind of having to assist me with that, because I was feeling it, in the body.
Yeah. And
So yeah,
that leads to exactly. And so this is what she kept remembering. And I mean, Norma Jean's so much more connected to her feminine side since I've met her as well, because one needs to find that balance and being more connected with the body. And that was actually a gift in a way to show you how to be more
right,
connected with the body, even
right,
though it was an injury. And so we come back into our bodies and we bring some of these injuries into the physical. That's how powerful we are. We bring them into these physical beings, scratches, bruises, ripped wings, feeling in the body, because your energy body brings that memory with, and it manifests here. That's how powerful you are.
yeah,
And so please hear this. You are so powerful, right? And so, you know, I'm grateful to trust, and my take on it now is things have lightened up very much since then. You actually weren't even needed to be that warrior as much anymore. It's like everything has been on this new beginning, new trajectory for over a year, I would say, where one has new realizations on what's actually happening,
yeah,
whether it be in the astral or it's cosmic or it's in the physical here. Yeah. So it's lightened up a lot. It feels better. And I always go by how I feel. I just want to go back to what Sharon was saying here. I'm still scared to connect alone. Reach out. Happy to assist. Absolutely. One does not need to suffer. And it's that whole thing about you move past this fear and it unlocks a whole bunch for you. So do it little by little. Go a little further each time. But on the other side of that fear is your full freedom. Yeah, absolutely. And then Earth Biscuit was saying, I think we intersect with those times in the astral, so we could hypothetically see any time or place by calling that intersection to us. Absolutely. And this is where we're going, is to have the capacity, skills, abilities to actually remember everything about us, this remembering, this reigniting, and bring all of us back to ourselves here and now versus just the aspect that fits in. How much higher can we vibrate to bring in more and more and more? And this is why you'll get really tired. You're integrating. This is why, you'll have an upgrade, or you suddenly don't feel like eating, or you're ravenous. Like, it can be many things. It can be headaches. It can be whatever is showing, body aches. Like, some mornings I get up and I feel like I'm gonna run a marathon because my legs are like, I feel like I ran a marathon up a mountain. And so that's, again, bringing that energy back in. Or the night that I was being sacrificed in another realm, and I got Norma to come and help me. And I was in the pyramids, and I was up on a block, and this guy was abusing me and taking me out, so to speak, ready to kill me. Well, Norma Jean came in and took him out. Yes. Thank you, Norma Jean.
Nobody wants
Yeah.
Tanya.
But I woke up in the morning, and we hadn't even discussed this yet. And I'm like, man, I feel like I got the shit kicked out of me last night.
How's that you did?
Yeah, well, let me tell you. So there's these other spaces and places going on, but it just is. Yeah, good job, Norma, right? Woohoo! She's got a saying that she says, nobody fucks with tea. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, many of you are experiencing colds, pink eyes, flus. This is your body doing what it's innately meant to do, which is purge that which is not working within the system. This has got to go. Think of your body like this incredible computer, this machine, this operation that can fix itself. It doesn't need a program installed if all the elements around it are of premium elements. So if you want to upgrade your programming, so to speak, one needs to cut out processed foods, drink more water, get rid of sugar. Like, there's all these things you can do to upgrade your body, and some will trigger, especially if you do like a metal detox, it'll trigger a purge, or parasites, it'll trigger a purge, which is fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely. If we can bring in injuries, can we bring back healing? I'm tired of pain. Absolutely. Go ahead, Norma.
It's about your intention. You have to be clear about the intentions you set as to what you want to experience. And in that, in being able, you have to have that clarity of that intention. You got to take everything in consideration that could take place and say, and have that statement say, this is what I want to experience, and I want it to be for my highest good. And I don't want it to, you have to be very clear in your intention. You have to write these things out. How clear are you about your intentions? See, that's the thing about us as human beings sometimes, is we got to get clear. We got to be clear, and we got to have that focus and that clarity, because you see, we're not just dealing with ourselves here. We're dealing with all the energies that we've been dealing with that exist here along with us. But in order to get to that clarity, we must fully be within and get to the depthness of the clarifyingness we seek in our experiences. Because I was just talking with T today. Because I've found and understand that I have a purpose, I wake up with no pain whatsoever when I wake up in the mornings, because the first thing I'm wanting to do is get up and have that moment of that clarifying, conversation that I'm about to have in that in-between state before I could become, fully awake. And that takes anywhere between 8 minutes to 30 minutes, just depending on how long I can keep myself there, because I'm clear. I'm clear that I want to stay there until I receive all of what I can receive from that session with self, because that's where I'm going to gain most of the clarity I'm seeking to understand who I am, where I am, and where I'm going.
And I'd love to add to that, Earth Biscuit. So we honestly have the capacity to do this. So remembering that as we ask for guidance and ask for assistance, I'm tired of pain. So what we want to state and have affirmations around is I am healthy, healed and whole, right? And to make sure that we're doing our grounding, and if you need a little protection, absolutely, it doesn't hurt, but running your chakras and making sure your energy is out and elevated will protect you. But some people need a little extra until they raise that right up. And so if you can visualize that, and remember, I keep getting you're picking up on collective. This isn't your pain. This isn't your pain to bear. You don't need to bear this pain. So you can send it to the sun or send it into Mother Earth. Get your bare feet on the earth and like plug them in and absolutely like release this. Yeah, and swimming in water would be really good for you as well. If you're in the Telegram group, feel free to share a little bit more, and then I can direct you further as well. Bengal says I was on the pedestrian bridge. Yeah, I was I call it my orca spaceship. So I was flying. I wasn't even really driving. So, there's all of that too. All right. Back to this astral stuff, because I think this is really where we have the most power. We keep saying you have all the power within you. But right now in this space and time during this new moon, and as we rock into this, we're already in the 8-8 portal. You can go ahead and keep going with this of more intention setting, more asking for that which you desire, but it needs to be in the I am statement as if it's already happened. So every time you say, oh, I can't wait until I'm not in pain anymore, now it becomes a loop, right? Because you're not being clear. Set your intention clearly. I am healthy. I am healthy. I am whole. I am healed. I feel fucking amazing, right?
You tell yourselves what you want them to do.
Right? You can also ask to be put in a healing chamber at night. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of things that are very helpful. Not waiting for any, I don't really wait for the med bed. I've got one thing in my neck and it doesn't even really bother me. It's kind of like your jaw thing, right? It's like that one thing to remind us we're in the physical. It's like that one thing that just keeps us. But other than that, I can certainly feel like, oh, I'm a little stiff. After we were on the island doing laboring for 3 days, working on one bigger garage door, one smaller garage door, stripping off all the old paint, sanding it, priming it twice, and then painting it 3 times. So my shoulders, my legs, because I was squatting so much, I was like got my ass kicked. The next day, we did nothing. We were like, not doing anything. We were both tired. So, it's yes, I am health, wealth, and wise. Yes, absolutely. So make your own affirmations up. Say them every day. And remember the every little cell song, because that every little cell song is strong, right? You're claiming it. The handsome dream about my legs. Yeah. Yeah. We're always manifesting that which we desire. Do you guys have any questions about this? Because we're happy to keep going here, of course, but questions are always good for assisting in direction if anybody has questions. So what I've been practicing doing is notebooks everywhere, making sure that I'm writing out everything at night that might be on my mind so it's cleared, and then setting my intentions for that sleep, setting the intentions into water, taking a sip of the water or drinking half of it before you go to sleep, setting that intention. And in the morning, drinking the rest to say, may I remember when I get up, I knew somebody was thirsty on the call. It was you. I was just like, somebody's thirsty right now.
I've been drinking pretty good.
Yeah, you're doing good. You're doing good. Yeah, absolutely. Jana says, every time I wake, I'm sore and have new bruises and so tired. My dreams are intense. My hands have a rash on them. So strange. Not strange at all to us because it's been going on for a while. So you're now just coming into it. This is part of this purge and upgrade that we're getting, which is super beautiful. Knowing that our consciousness leaves our body, goes and does things in other areas, whatever you want, departments, realms, dimensions, divisions, whatever you want to call it, timelines. And then we come back into this body because this is where our consciousness is in this time and space. But yeah, so set some more intentions, guys, and make sure that you're putting yourself first. Make sure you're getting your needs met so that you can be the best version of you possible. And you will find these things all dissipate a bit more. When I'm super focused on me and I'm not doing for everyone else, I'm in much better shape. So when I focus and put myself first, and I said, we're going to the beach today. I haven't been in the sun in several days. We're going to the beach, right? And not only for like an hour, but that's more than enough time for me to get the rays, get in the sand, get in the water a little bit, set some intentions in the water, and I'm good. Yeah. Sharon says, I don't know what's mine and what's someone else's. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? We can't be all up in here. We're not ascending to go up and leave our bodies. No. We chose to come into earth, so it's being mind, body, and soul, grounded and plugged into earth and connected above. This 5D, oh, we're going somewhere else. It's a consciousness. It's a consciousness. Yeah.
You know, here's what I was just given as we're speaking to this.
Yeah.
Especially with what Kreba 66 just wrote in the comments. Water is that, you got to remember, it goes land, water, air, ethereal. Where does the fire come in? The fire is what seems to be the thing that burns upon air, upon water, and throughout. Upon earth, upon water, and throughout air. So when we look at the elements and we look at the legs, so to speak, the legs and the arms are the first things to make contact with the earth, whether it be that we're sitting down, walking, placing things on the ground. So when we look at things as land, water, air, let's just use those three for right now.
Yeah.
The land is what connects us and keeps us grounded through our legs first and foremost. That's the reason why it was always best for us to always walk around barefoot, because we stayed grounded that way until they started putting us in shoes. Water is the next level because water is that in-between state. Water is that in-between state because it's malleable. Our organs exist within that water. Our organs are that, that space and place that is the in-between. And then from there, from here up is air. So when we look at air, water, earth, then you begin to understand that because your mom putting that water under your bed, it's that in-between. That's the reason why there's a trine. That's the reason why there's a cardinal fixed immutable with your birth signs. Like for fire, it's Aries is the cardinal, Leo is the fixed, and Sagittarius is the mutable. So when we look at the trinomials, then we begin to understand this is how we're set up, so to speak, and how we experience this through elementals by understanding the signs and symbols and planets and what they represent and what their energies are and why they have these particular characteristics or moods or feelings, emotions, and things like that. is because we are in a certain way. This human form is ruled by them, not because they rule over us, but because depending on what's taking place in our astrological clock and what's in those specific houses is how we begin to understand um, how we traverse this realm of manifest. So it's the bringing together of the two that we know of the astral and the manifest together and having the understanding. So it's like
The bridge.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
as Battle Tiger was talking to the bridge,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bridge.
Absolutely. We're always bridging stuff. Absolutely. Hello, Luke. Nice to see you. Yeah. Thank you, Norma. That was perfect. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's why we keep going mind, body, and spirit, because the more balanced this is, the more you understand, and you're not letting your thoughts, which are not facts, control you. You realize the thoughts are like the wave in the ocean, and they come and they go, and you don't need to attach to them and make them a fact, because that shifts the belief. And so we want to make sure that we're very cautious and conscious about that which we're going to take on as beliefs. So for Sharon, for example, when she keeps saying she's scared, I'm afraid, you're setting up that program. You're going to keep being scared and keep being afraid, because now you're programming yourself with that. Every word, every thought, and every action is part of your manifestation. Go ahead.
Stop cursing yourself.
Yeah.
Just because something happens that's taken place in your past doesn't mean you sit there and you allow it to continue to be a curse upon you. See, that's something that we came into as well to understand, because we just get to expand as much as we possibly can in our understanding. That for so long, where we rejected it, allowing ourselves to have those emotions, to have those feelings, to express them, what we did was by rejecting them, we were putting spells upon ourselves because we were casting spells, which became what was the word we just used? Wow.
Manifest.
No.
Manifest.
No. Curse.
Right. Thank
It
you.
became curses.
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain it a little bit better than I can, understanding that, the curse. It's very significant and profound what I'm trying to speak to here, but it's like it's all getting jumbled up because it's all going through my head so very fast.
Right. Okay. So not unlike a manifestation, a curse is a similar thing, because you're commanding it. You're commanding this word, this emotion, and you're putting it into action as a manifestation. So and you're cursing yourself, especially when it's sharp and it's against you. It's not for you, it's against you. Yes.
Liz Ward.
Sometimes the telepathic abilities aren't so good while we're online. That's why I'm laughing so hard.
And it's like when you look at movies and they do these things, and it's like you see like knives flying all around and shit like that. I get it. We're always double-edged swording ourselves because of the words we use. We think we may have that, that forked tongue, but guess what?
Yeah.
When it's going back in, what's happening? It's curling up.
Right. Absolutely.
So, as what was it? NDEs. There's not much difference, really.
No,
given
to me,
the energies that are taking place right now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's just become a really acceptable term. So it's no different. And so what it is they're out there longer, and they may come into a much deeper in-between space and have those interactions, your life review, all of these things that occur once we are done with this avatar, and then they're kicked back into their body. No, you can't go yet. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's just like I just spoke to. You have a cardinal, you have a fixed, and you have a mutable. The cardinal is the NDE. or the fixed, because an NDE is that in between state where you leave your body because the body stops working for a certain amount of period in time, and then our travel dream state is the cardinal, and the mutable is what you would say would be our dreams. So it's astral, NDE, dream. Keep coming back to the trines, to the threes.
Absolutely.
3 degrees of separation. Sorry.
Right? No, it's true. And there's actually something really profound there, Norma, that we will have to dig into a little bit more, because this is adding, nobody's talking about this stuff. Nobody's taking and bridging this information. And this is what we are so good at doing is, and then adding to it and going, that makes sense. That resonates for me. And so then starting to share more of that. So just want to address this before we do a wrap up. Bengal Tiger, talk about tangibility. Water is 2/3, earth is 1/3. So air is how much of our realm? Is air the odd one out? No. Likely it cannot be measured. And because, go ahead.
Takes you back to the trines.
Yeah.
Something's got to move the up at the in between. See, water's the fluid. It's malleable. It can be gone through. It can turn. Water is the one that can be transmuted in so many different ways and so many different levels. Frozen, solid, liquid, gases, or dew to a steam.
Right.
So when we look at it, and since there was another thing too, is with this is going into the Aquarian age, they're talking about we're going into the fire and air, because we've already been earth, water.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why it's so important that we became grounded before this cosmic year begins and things like that. That's the reason why so many of you are starting to awaken and have more of these experiences, because it's almost like we're kind of in a way being pushed to integrate.
Yes.
To keep up with what's taking place with Earth, because we are Earth.
Yeah, we're moving very quickly at this time.
We're the essence of Earth, because we are that cellular structure. And I'll keep coming back to that every single time. Okay, the cellular structure. When you understand completely and fully what that cellular structure is, and how profound it is in its abilities and what its capabilities are, that so much information can be held within something so minute.
Right.
Yet it can alter something like that if given the correct direction, intention.
Right. Quite
focus.
Given the right access. So, right. So access portal. You need put something in the portal of the cell and it will shift your entire body. Absolutely.
Be the one to write the programs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Fire and air have no weight. Oh, I see. Right. But it's also
very good.
Higher, right. More expansion in different ways and getting us out of the mind and connected above. So now you're grounded to earth and connected above. That is the trine we are trying to achieve. Yeah. I just want to comment
between.
Right? Yeah. Miss Trish.
I'm sorry.
I still cannot remember none of my dreams. I've asked and asked, but I wake up so tired. Sometimes you're not meant to remember. And that's okay. Yeah, don't beat yourself up, but you wake up so tired. That happens too, where it's like, man, I slept all night, but I'm still tired. So go easy on yourself. There's no somebody being ahead or somebody being behind. Everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be at this time, because we are all so unique as our thumbprint, as to our makeup for our experience here, for the world we choose to create and experience. So we can't be somebody else. I can't be Norma Jean traveling. It's just not who I am. I can't see myself the way she sees my energy being, which is really annoying. But that's okay. I accept that. For I will know, I will see, I will feel, it will come. Yeah. So we had a equine session over on the island, and it was a really beautiful profound session. Oh yeah, there's way more dimensions. There's no end to dimensions. It's
You
just
don't
part of
even need math for that.
right. You don't have enough math. No. Anyways, I just wanted to say this about the horses, that during that, and I'm comfortable with horses. I'm very comfortable with horses. But have you ever had a horse come up and start doing this, right? And this, and I was like, man, they got big teeth. And I can feel the air coming on my face. All three of them nuzzled me right here. Three males.
And I know why.
Go ahead.
It just, they're just aware of what it is that I know, what I see about you.
Yeah.
And it's just this huge and enormous amount of feminine essence. It's at that place that is ready to come forth and exude in ways that it's like, it's almost, like I said, you're in this hold pattern, and in that hold, or that void that you so want to speak, it's just that period, like you've been speaking to. It's a transition. It's a transition in that, even though being the witness to it all, I see many things, but I know what it's producing, what's coming from that, what's going to happen for you. And it's one of those that it's, when it's time, you'll step in, and it won't be just me who sees, because you'll come to know, because you'll see yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just here to remind you.
Yeah. And here we come up on a lap around the sun in the 8-8 portal. Speaking of which, as we wrap this up today, you guys have questions, keep asking. Hey, Andrea, how's it going? We're keep asking in the chat, because we'll always respond. Topic you'd like us to discuss, ask away. We are here to help, assist, guide. Yeah. Are we hurting? No. You can do nothing.
That's what you want to do. You want to bring them to you.
Yeah, call. This is why I call everything, especially when we go away like that and go on ferries. And to me, they're portals. Everything's a portal. Boom, boom, boom. We're seeing different things. It's important to call your energy back. I do really believe in that one, because when I left a certain platform and I called my energy back, it was like a freaking tidal wave of energy came through.
It ran me right over to get to her. Trust me on
it. So, all right. We have on Wednesday, I have Tamara coming on, who's from Wild Sky Astrology. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. Yeah, absolutely, Andrea. You're working through it, girl. You're working through it. And you started seeing energy. Beautiful. So we have that coming on. Of course, we have David tomorrow. Tuesday. It's when it's, I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore, because we've
look at my role.
Right? Alex on Fridays. And a reminder about the membership. For $33 a month, there's a catalog of meditations that are custom, that are nowhere else. There is weekly meetings, staggered, one in the morning and one in the evening, so that we can capture around the world, so we don't leave anybody out. And those are for you to ask questions, guide on topics. We may have some specific energy updates within that. And then I'm also doing once a week healings. So you're getting 4 monthly group calls, 4 group healings, or you can buy those separately for $22 on the website. Just set up and have a feeling on that, and be specific about what you need, and I'll bring that in for you. And then there's a whole blog, books to download, meditations. So it's actually becoming quite invaluable, because a one-on-one session right now is $144. So for $33 a month, you can connect with us 8 times. that's to me extreme value. So depending on what you need, depending on what you're looking for, but yeah, we do highly recommend it. And yeah, that's about all I have to share. I'm wishing you all much blessings. I hope you all took in some of that healing today. Nurmagine, parting words. Oh, and listen to hear, not to reply. Those are my closing statements.
Always. In all ways.
I don't know why I said statements.
That's the reason why we set this up. We set up the membership, and it's one of those that just as y'all, so much has just been going on, and the one thing that I plan on getting started this month is in my part, which would be the Charter Chronicles, where I'm going to be able to start bringing forth more information on the cellular structure, on the utilization of understanding the energies of the planets, their signs, their symbols, the energies that they are, along with the horoscope signs, the Aries and all that. So, it's been something we've been so excited about to create, to bring y'all in so we can have these open discussions where we're not having to worry about if we say one wrong word on one of these platforms and we just get taken off. Forget that. That's the reason why we created the membership, because with a paywall, they can't do that.
Right? Yeah.
So we can talk about anything that you would like to speak to and not worry about, something taking place where you either can't get back to the video, or the great thing about it too is that once we have these videos, we leave them up for others to be able to watch that come in, that join the membership, and can see that we have these open dialogues. Because you see, we're here to hear you. We're here to listen. So that way we can hear who you are. We want to know who you are. I do. I take pleasure in hearing other people and who they are and where they're at, and hopefully being able to provide you with the guidance and the tools needed to utilize to help you come more into who you are. But the beautiful aspect of it is having the chance and opportunity to be the witness, to see each of you come more and more into that. See, that's my excitement about all this.
This will catapult you in your growth, because what happens is you are seen and you are heard and then reflected back to you. And when you have that reflection and you have that safe space, it allows you to expand, because now you trust. Now you have a circle of trust. And we can't do that circle of trust online like this. It doesn't work. And it can't be in an app, because we don't know who's all in there. So this is a circle of trust. Absolutely. And yeah, so grateful, Judy. I'm glad you enjoyed. You're welcome, Sharon. Yes, Janice, on Wednesday when I'm live will be my solar trip around the sun, or my born day. this lifetime. Only been here, several thousand times.
Your choice.
Right?
Thank you for leaving that door open for me. Yes. Every time you've done that to me, and it's like, oh, she does it. You chose. Your choice.
Nailed it. All right, you guys, we're going to sign off. We're so grateful you're here. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday when I'll be back on 4 p.m. Same time, same place. All right. We love you. Leaving you with